Hey there, Swifties and potentially future Swifties, because we are on a mission to convert you. Welcome back to 40 is the New Swiftie podcast. My name is Arianne, and I am your millennial mom host. The other half of this show, my counterpart, is my Gen Z daughter, Lily, who will be joining us here in a little bit for our Tea with Gen Z session. On this podcast, we like to spill the tea on all things life and all things Taylor Swift. This week, we are going to be breaking down the lyrics of the song Eldest Daughter, which is the fifth track on her 12th album, The Life of a Showgirl. I'm going to walk you through the lyrics. I'll read them to you and just give my 2 cents, my interpretation of what they mean, what I believe they mean for Taylor, then also what they mean to me personally. I am an eldest daughter. So the title of the song immediately intrigued me. As I've listened to it over and over and over again preparing for this podcast, though, it goes so deep now. I can't even explain it. I am this song at this point. Let's get to it. Eldest Daughter, track 5 from The Life of a Showgirl. Oh, also, there are just a few explicit lyrics in this song. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. We have posted all of the lyrics down in the comments so you can follow along if you're able to. And we will also link both the clean and the explicit versions of the song. We would love to have you go give it a listen or 100 listens like I have and share your own thoughts and interpretations on the song. I would love to hear what you think it means or what it maybe means to you. Okay, so Eldest Daughter, track 5 of The Life of a Showgirl, verse 1. Everybody's so punk on the internet. Everyone's unbothered till they're not. Every joke's just trolling and memes. Sad as it seems, apathy is hot. Everybody's cutthroat in the comments. Every single hot take is cold as ice. When you found me, I said I was busy. That was a lie. The majority of Taylor's music library is about her love interests or friendships. I just assumed when this album dropped that all of these songs were going to be about Travis and or friendships that have fallen apart during that time that she was recording the album. When I got to this song, I was really confused. I had a difficult time understanding how these lyrics could make sense for a love interest. When she says, "When you found me, I said I was busy. That was a lie." And then why does that have anything to do with, people being trolls and bullies on the internet? Like I said, the more I listened to the song, the more I started digging in, and I had an epiphany. Swifties, this song has nothing to do with love interests. This song is 100% Taylor talking to herself and exploring her own journey. And the reason why I genuinely believe that is because I am personally on this mental health healing journey. I've got this amazing therapist. She's part of the reason why this podcast even exists. But we've recently been talking about something called internal family systems. I can't get too much into it because I could seriously talk your faces off about this. I find it so fascinating. I'm going to try to give you a high level explanation or description of what this means because I do feel like it's super relevant to this song. So, internal family systems is a model of therapy that views the mind as being naturally made up of many different subpersonalities or parts. They call them parts. These parts are like members of an inner family, and every single one of them, even the troublesome ones, have a positive intention for you. There are no bad parts. So there's three main groups: the exiles, who hold the pain and wounds from the past. Then we have the managers, who work hard to prevent those hurts from being triggered, often by trying to control or be a perfectionist or a people pleaser. Then there are the firefighters. They react impulsively to numb the pain when an exile is activated. Through habits like overeating or addiction, it can also come out in like angry outbursts. The goal of IFS, so internal family systems, the goal of IFS is to access your core self. The self is a source of calmness, compassion, and clarity that was never damaged. By letting the self lead, you can understand, heal, and harmonize your parts, allowing them to drop their extreme roles so that the entire system feels grounded and whole. The way this is showing up in my life, my nervous system. So, our parts in our brain are essentially extensions of our nervous system. And my nervous system learned very early on in life that uncertainty or confrontation meant I was unsafe. As a result, my parts got really, really good at protecting little me. So good that it's all I knew. That critical voice in my mind, the perfectionism, the people pleasing. I struggled with alcohol addiction from ages 18 to 31. I feel like internal family systems was written about me, even though it was created over 40 years ago. As I'm working through my own therapy, sometimes applying the internal family systems model, I can't help but hear that in Taylor's song here. So when I say she's not speaking to her about love interests, I think she's actually speaking to herself. And I would go so far as to argue that she is walking us through her very own internal family systems experience. Hear me out. When you found me, I said I was busy. That was a lie. If you think about it, it would be so easy for Taylor to just get completely wrapped up and distracted by everything that's happening on the internet, the trolls, the critics. I mean, she's one of the most famous people in the world. If she wanted to, she could absolutely let all of that consume her. And in interviews early on, she admits in the documentary Miss Americana, she admits she's a people pleaser, she's a perfectionist. It's something that she's working on. When you found me, I said I was busy. That was a lie. When these parts of us are so strong, so influential, so effective, it's hard to believe that life can be any different. It's hard to believe that you can be, that I can be any different. This is just who I am. It's just how I'm made up. It's never going to change. So to be approached, I mean, it just you want to stay distracted is what I'm getting at. You want to stay distracted. When I hear her say, "When you found me, I said I was busy," that was a lie. I think she's saying, "I knew I needed help, but I wasn't ready to deal with this yet. It was just too big." So I told you I was too busy. I'm too busy for therapy. I'm too busy to deal with this right now. I can't deal with this right now. I mean, how many times have we heard people say that when they're being approached about something that it's just too big in the moment? They're just not ready. So she was just too busy. It goes on into the pre chorus. I have been afflicted by a terminal uniqueness. I've been dying just from trying to seem cool. Again, yeah, this song just really hits. Man, it hits. I've been afflicted by a terminal uniqueness. I've been dying just from trying to seem cool. I so badly want to be able to break this down for you in a way that you understand and can resonate with. It hits me so deep that I'm truly having a difficult time finding the right words. But when you're dying from trying to seem cool, you're for me personally, that means constantly fighting against my own authentic self. So as a result, that uniqueness is terminal because it doesn't go away. That fight and struggle against the authentic self, it never stops. And so you're never done trying to seem cool. A person can only sustain that kind of internal battle for so long until you really start to feel like you are completely losing yourself to it. Yet that uniqueness never goes away. So you're constantly fighting it. You're constantly tired. I was exhausted. Oh my goodness, I was so exhausted. I had tried everything: TED Talks, audiobooks, therapy, life coaching, Bible studies, recovery programs. And yet, at 42 years old, I was still dealing with all of this stuff, these outbursts and temptations with addictions and self medicating. I did finally go talk to my doctor and get on antidepressants. And within a couple of weeks, the way I described it was like being even just even keel and or happy went from feeling like trying to pick up 100-pound weight to trying to pick up a 15-pound weight. That was one of those first aha moments for me. Like, is this how the rest of the population lives? Is it really this easy to go about your day and not have to fend off an emotional breakdown every 5 minutes? Like, other people get to live like this all the time, and all I have to do is go find the right medication to help get my brain chemicals regulated a little bit. Up until then, I was 1000% being afflicted by a terminal uniqueness, and I was almost literally dying, at least on the inside, just from trying to seem cool. We're going to move into the chorus now. But I'm not a bad bitch, and this isn't savage, but I'm never going to let you down. I'm never going to leave you out. So many traitors, smooth operators, but I'm never going to break that vow. I'm never going to leave you now. Again, when I heard this song for the first time, I was very confused. I did not understand what she was meaning by this. Like, you are a bad bitch, Taylor. Like, you're the baddest of the baddies. She's such a baller boss babe. Why would she be saying that she's not a bad bitch? When I think about it from an internal family systems perspective, though, what she's saying is, I'm done. I'm done putting on this mask and this facade that I am this untouchable, non-emotional kind of, robot. Nothing's going to touch me, nothing's going to hurt me. I'm done trying to convince myself or others of that. That being said, I'm never going to let you down. I'm never going to leave you out. She's talking to those exiles. She's letting them know that even though I'm not pretending to have this thick skin or this big guard up anymore, I've still got you and I'm always going to have you. And you never have to worry about that. If you're a person who's ever dealt with any type of trauma, especially from childhood, and you've sought therapy for it, I would imagine at some point there's an opportunity to engage with that exile, that part of you that's been tucked away, that your firefighter and your manager have been spending your whole life protecting. I know I have. And we've been working through actually something called EMDR. And EMDR is a process where you are able to reprocess trauma. I don't want to say relive it. You're just reprocessing it, but you're doing it in a way that's very safe. And so it becomes just a memory versus a traumatic experience. The best way I know how to describe it is you are legitimately rewriting your history. So there are some early memories that I have gone back and reprocessed, and I got to leave that version of myself there in the moment, but whole, happy, safe, healthy. And it's like she came out of her exile, and then I got to leave her in this beautiful, joyous past, this kind of alternative universe. But it's my choice to decide where I left her. And now when I think back on it, like that's what I see. Adult me sees little me in this beautiful, joyous situation. So we don't have to be bad bitches and we don't have to be savage to still be able to heal and take care of ourselves in a healthy way and continue to work through trauma, work through pain from our past, take care of those exiles, those little versions of us that so desperately need to be paid attention to and cared for and nurtured. And then so many traders, smooth operators, but I'm never going to break that vow. I'm never going to leave you now. People are going to come along and they're going to pretend like they've got your back, but eventually they show their true colors. And unfortunately, at least for me, most of the time, I've already let them in pretty far by the time their true colors start showing. They become traitors. They turn their backs on me when it's not convenient or it's not serving them anymore. But they were smooth operators. They got themselves right in there and had me convinced that they were worth my time and energy. I'm never going to do that again to myself and to my exiles. I am here. I'm here for this. I'm in it 100%. And I don't care how hard it gets. I don't care how long it takes. I am never going to break that vow, and I am never going to leave her now. Verse 2. The last time I laughed this hard was on the trampoline in somebody's backyard. I must have been about 8 or 9. That was the night I fell off and broke my arm. Pretty soon I learned cautious discretion when your first crush crushes something kind. When I said I don't believe in marriage, that was a lie. It's interesting to think about an adult woman saying, the last time I laughed this hard was on a trampoline in somebody's backyard. I must have been about 8 or 9. She's 36 now, but I totally get what she's saying. When I think about some of that reprocessing that I've done through EMDR, and I go back to those difficult times in life and I think about everything that's been lost between then and now, just trying to survive and stay safe. I completely get what she's saying here. That was the night I fell off and broke my arm. Pretty soon, I learned cautious discretion when your first crush crushes something kind. In 6th grade, I had a crush on a boy, and I changed schools a lot when I was a kid. I think I attended 3 or 4 elementary schools between the grades kindergarten through 5th grade. It made it really hard to establish myself and even really find myself because I had to keep starting over and over and over again in these different social settings, and each one was so different. So I want to come back to I want to come back to earlier on in this verse. I must have been about 8 or 9. That was the night I fell off and broke my arm. The last time I laughed this hard was the night I fell off and broke my arm. At some point, I think for a lot of us, especially millennials, there are so many like key moments from our adolescence where we lose our innocence. We realize that the world isn't perfect, that adults don't always have our backs or our best interests at heart, whether it's intentional or not, that people can be mean and cruel for no apparent reason. People we trust can't be trusted. There's just that, there's just these pivotal moments. Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree that there are these pivotal moments in our childhood and our memories where it's just like before and after? You're an innocent kid, you're not aware of dangers or harm or evil in the world, and then something happens and it's like that bubble gets burst and you realize, oh, okay, there is harm, there is pain in the world. I have a reason to be cautious. I have a reason for my manager and my firefighter to start stepping in. So she goes on, she says, pretty soon I learned cautious discretion. When your first crush crushes something kind. When I was in 6th grade, I had a crush on a boy, and we moved around a lot when I was in elementary school. Our family grew fairly quickly. And so as a result, we kept moving into bigger and bigger houses. But those houses were in neighborhoods that were in different areas for different schools. So I attended, I think, 4 elementary schools between the grades kindergarten and 5th grade. it just made it really hard to establish myself socially. It made it especially hard for me to find myself or even know who I was because I was just so busy repeatedly trying to fit in with a new group of kids. So middle school hits. I feel like I'm maybe starting to get some things figured out. I've been with these kids for a couple of years at this point, and I not crushed on boys. I mean, I was your typical 12, 13-year-old girl. They were definitely on my radar. I had a friend call me up one day and she just like out of the blue was like, who do you like? Who do you have a crush on? I felt the pressure. I wanted to be cool. I wanted her to think I was cool, and I wanted to be part of the cool gang. And apparently the cool kids had crushes on boys and they talked about it. And so I picked a kid that I was drawn to. And I just started saying things that I thought would be amusing, that I thought would make me sound cool. And she just kept pressing and asking more and more questions. And the whole conversation was just really weird and awkward. And then all of a sudden, I hear laughing and voices in the background. I figured out really quickly that that boy and some of their friends were over at her house, and she knew that I kind of had a crush on this kid, intentionally called me up and then got me to say all those things while they were listening. I was so mortified. I never talked about having a crush on a boy again until I was in college. Not only that, I I thought I'd finally made some friends, and then this happens. That that experience taught me that friends are temporary. I will trust them. I will choose to trust them, but someday it's inevitable. They will betray me. And that's really how I approached that's gosh, I'm sad to say this, but that's almost how I still approach friendships. It's something else that I'm working through with my therapist. I have amazing, amazing women in my life whom I cherish, who support me and have been around for all the things and had my back, still do, always will. But I still keep them at a distance. And I know that that's something that I do. Sometimes literally, like they live in other cities and that makes me feel safe in the friendship. Or I just don't see them for a really long time. Like I'll let a whole lot of time go in between times that I see them. And it's so easy to just say, oh, life's got me busy. I've got a teenage daughter. She keeps me moving quite a bit. Our time's really consumed with that. It's not a conscious thought, but the more I think about it and explore it, I think that I just got really good at making very justifiable and respectable excuses to keep people at an arm's length so that I couldn't get hurt like that again. So the last two lines in verse 2 are when I said I don't believe in marriage, that was a lie. It's so much easier to say that you don't believe in marriage than to repeatedly have your heart broken and have promises made in relationships that aren't followed through on. I have been in relationships where marriage was promised, and then as soon as they got what they wanted from me, they were done. It's so much easier to just say, I don't believe in marriage than to admit I do believe in marriage. It's something I dream of. I don't know that it's a reality for me. Back to the pre chorus. Every eldest daughter was the first lamb to the slaughter. So we all dressed up as wolves and we looked fire. When I heard this line, okay, I had to listen to this song like 100 times to be able to break down some of these other lyrics for you. But this line, first time, record scratch, hard stop, mic drop. Every eldest daughter was the first lamb to the slaughter. So we all dressed up as wolves and we looked fire. From what I can understand, yes, Taylor is the eldest daughter in her family of origin. It seems, though, that her upbringing was actually pretty healthy and solid. She had a tight relationship with her brother. Her parents were nurturing and present and willing to do what it took to support Taylor in her music career. They picked up the whole family, moved to Nashville so that she could try to explore a music career. I don't believe that when Taylor refers to herself as the eldest daughter, that she's talking about her family of origin. I think she's talking about her career in the music industry. I mean, the name of this album is The Life of a Showgirl. If you think about it, Taylor was the first female to do a lot of things in this industry, starting with having such a successful career at such a young age and then being able to sustain that success over almost 2 decades. Whether you're a Swiftie or not, I challenge you, just go Google a list of Taylor Swift's accomplishments in her musical career. Whether you like her or not, whether you like her music or not, you can't deny the facts. This woman just keeps breaking records. She just keeps being the first to do things over and over again. And I don't know if you've noticed, but in the world that we live in, it doesn't take too kindly to women doing really impressive things. It makes them uncomfortable. They just want the ecosystem to go back to the way it was. And they'll do just about anything they can to make that happen, including offering up these incredibly talented individuals as a sacrificial offering to be slaughtered. I mean, how many people have set out to just completely destroy Taylor, not just her career, but her as a human being? So, what do when you know that people are out to get you? You really got two choices: you lay down and take it, or you put up a fight. When you are a young woman exploring things in a male dominated industry, in a male dominated country, patriarchy, you do whatever you can. And, we all dressed up as wolves and we looked fire. Taylor, she looks fire, man. Homegirl knows how to put on a baller outfit and put on a show, obviously. I mean, she broke tons of records with her most recent tour, the Eras tour. She puts on her costume, she puts on her mask, she knows she looks fire, and she, steps out into the war zone. What else are you going to do? Back to the chorus. But I'm not a bad bitch, and this isn't savage, but I'm never going to let you down. I'm never going to leave you out. So many traitors, smooth operators, but I'm never going to break that vow. I'm never going to leave you now. And then, as if she hasn't just punched me in the gut enough already with this song, she transitions into this bridge. Every time I listen to it, every time I think about these lyrics, I get choked up because it's like she's just looking directly into my soul and then telling my story back to me, but in this sweet, gentle, loving, authentic kind of way. So the bridge says, "We lie back, a beautiful, beautiful time lapse. Ferris wheels, kisses, and lilacs, and things I said were dumb. 'Cause I thought that I'd never find that beautiful, beautiful life that shimmers that innocent light back, like when we were young." I think that Ferris wheels, kisses, and lilacs are all places where Taylor might have exiles or just beautiful, innocent memories from her childhood that she thought she had to give up on. I don't know about you, but by the time I got to my 40s, I just, like I said, I just thought that was as good as it gets. I just thought that this was my destiny. My destiny was to just kind of go through life wounded, traumatized, having to pick up 100-pound weight every time I wanted to have fun or feel joy or have peace. Of course, you're going to say that these things are dumb. And then all of a sudden, she finds this beautiful, beautiful life that shimmers that innocent light back, like when we were young. For me, that is therapy, that is EMDR, that is internal family systems. And I know these things aren't sexy, but they have restored back to me so many things that I thought were lost, including getting back to my true, authentic self, the person was always created to be without all of the tarnishment of the trauma and the difficulty and the pain and the defensive behaviors and the destructive behaviors. She moves into another pre chorus. Every youngest child felt they were raised up in the wild, but now you're home. I thought the placement of this one was a little strange. The name of the song is Eldest Daughter. She is telling us her internal family story about being the eldest daughter in the music industry and just what that journey has looked like for her over the last 2 decades. And then all of a sudden, she's like talking about being a youngest child. I don't know if this is what she meant or not, but it makes a lot of sense to me. This is where Taylor is saying, even if you aren't the eldest daughter, even if your journey doesn't look like mine, I am acknowledging that we have all struggled through something. Each of our journeys is different, but we've all experienced difficulty. And no matter what that experience is for you, you can come back here with me in my music, in my poetry, and you're going to be home. You're going to be safe. When people reflect on the Eras tour, and he talks about this in the book that we referenced in episode 0, There's Nothing Like This, The Strategic Genius of Taylor Swift. He recalls a memory of taking his daughter to the Eras tour. And I get emotional every time I think about it or read it or talk about it, just because it's just so beautiful. Um, as a dad, he talks about watching his daughter have the opportunity to just take up as much space as she could possibly want to, with her body, with her sparkles, with her singing, like just completely unabashed, because Taylor has created this environment for her fans to be able to do that. And not just in Taylor's performance itself, but through her music within these other fans. She has figured out how to fill an entire football stadium with this space and energy that is safe for women, for anyone to be as big and as much as they possibly want to be. And to think about an adult dad seeing that in his younger daughter and understanding that's what was happening. I don't care whether you like Taylor or not. That is miraculous. There are so few human beings out there who have the ability to do that. And she has chosen to use her skills and her influence to make that happen for her fans. All right, Swifties and future Swifties, back to the chorus. Because I'm not a bad bitch, and this isn't savage, and I'm never going to let you down. I'm never going to leave you out. So many traitors, smooth operators, but I'm never going to break that vow. I'm never going to leave you now. And we move into the outro. Never gonna break that vow. I'm never gonna leave you now. I'm never gonna leave you now. Look, this is poetry. This song, I love this song so much. Man, I love this song. I hope that you were able to find something of value in this. I want this to be a time of storytelling. I also want it to be a time of safe reflection for you too. I share all of this with you. I mean, all joking aside, of course, I would love to convert some Swifties because, in case you haven't figured it out yet, I so admire and respect Taylor Swift, and I would love for other people to do the same. Truly, though, I want to use her poetry and the life application from my own experiences to create a safe space for you to do the same. If you heard something in my stories and my breaking down of the lyrics today that you can relate to, let me know. Shoot me an email. You can reach us at 40andswifty at gmail.com. That's 40and swiftea@gmail.com. Drop a note in the comments. You can go find us on Instagram at 40 and Swifty. We would truly love to hear from you. Okay, that was a lot. I I love going deep really quickly. I think that's part of the reason why I'm so weird about making friends because I hate small talk. It makes my skin crawl. I do have to do it for work and I can be good at it when I need to. But seriously, if you're willing to, like, we could meet on the street and be like, hey, you're cool. I'm cool. Let's hang out. Do you have 8 hours to go get a cup of coffee so that I can learn your entire life story and I can tell you mine? Like, that's how I make friends. And that's what this is probably going to be this time together. I'm just going to keep doing that. But it's because I love you and I love me. We deserve to live beautiful, beautiful lives that shimmer that innocent light back like when we were young. All right, that's the conclusion of my portion of today's episode, Eldest Daughter. Now we are going to lighten it up a little bit. We're going to bring Lily in and transition into what is arguably my favorite part of the podcast, our Tea with Gen Z segment. So hold tight. I'm going to go get Lily and buckle up because you never know what's going to come out of her mouth. Let's get ready for Tea with Gen Z. All right, Swifties, I'm back. And guess who's with me? Who's with me, Lily?
Me?
And who are you?
You already said my name. There's no point in repeating it.
Just say your name.
Hi, it's Lily.
Yay, it's Lily, everyone. And it's time for Tea
Tea
with
with
Gen
Gen Z.
Z. So, Lily and I talked quite a bit about what we were going to discuss in our Tea with Gen Z segment this week. I had asked her some questions about the song. One of the questions I asked was if you could rank this song like 1 to 12, 1 being your favorite, 12 being your least favorite, on the album The Life of a Showgirl, where would Eldest Daughter fall? What was your answer, Lily?
I said 12. It's my least favorite song, and I know that you really liked it, so I'm sure you've already shared enough about
Yeah, I think our listeners would agree with that. So instead of trying to force Lily to break down a song that she's not that big of a fan of, we thought that we would just dig into what life has been like for the last week. So last Friday was
Halloween.
Halloween, which was the day that our podcast dropped, and we love Halloween, don't we?
Yes.
Okay, I love Halloween because I love to dress up. And I don't mean like put on a themed t-shirt and jeans. I mean like I bought a Taylor Swift wig so that I could be Tay Tay for Halloween. It didn't quite work out that way, but we get pretty into it. And you enjoy it too, don't you?
Yes. I like trick or treating.
We have like the best trick-or-treating neighborhood. Yeah.
Everybody sets up bonfires, and
Even if it's like 30 degrees outside, these kids come back with like dragging pillowcases full of candy. It's awesome. It's great for the parents too because we live in a pretty like secure, secluded neighborhood. I can just send her out with her friends, watch her on Life 360, and I don't have to worry about who she's encountering or she's getting into trouble. So when we moved into this house, we established a new Halloween tradition and I have really enjoyed it. I think you've enjoyed it too, haven't you, Lily?
yes.
So can you tell our Swifties like what our traditional Halloweens look like now? We have, well, we call it a party, but what happens?
I invite some friends over, and then we eat pizza, and then we go trick or treating.
And it's just lovely. And I put up decorations, and I don't know if they even notice the decorations or not, but I sure have a lot of fun hanging them.
Oh, they definitely noticed the jack-o'-lantern thing. Caroline really liked the clapping feature.
Yeah, so this year we hung, Bill and I hung a ghoul, Bill's my husband, Lily's dad, we hung a ghoul in the corner that was sound activated. And so if you made a sound loud enough, which they discovered a clap would, he would say all kinds of silly loud things and his face would light up. But it sounds to me like maybe she just kept setting it off over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Tegan, she was going to get pizza, and the pizza box closed, and it set it off. And so we walk out, and she's just like screaming.
I'm not gonna lie. That's exactly what I was hoping would happen at least once by hanging that guy in the corner. And I just entertained myself with thoughts that there was a chance that it would. So thank you for confirming that for me.
You're welcome. I'm glad you take joy in my friend's pain.
This seems to be a recurring theme too. It's not pain, it's a practical
You
joke.
don't like
You're
practical
right, I hate
jokes.
practical jokes. That was a terrible thing for me to say. Okay, moving on. Let's talk costumes.
My costume is pretty boring this year.
Oh, I loved it though. Lily and her best friend went as.
The sun and moon.
Which one were you?
I was the moon.
Can you describe to our listeners what your costume looked like?
It was a silver sequin skirt, a black shirt, and silver body glitter, and a silver star headband that lights up.
And then what did your counterpart wear?
A gold sequin skirt, a white shirt, a gold star headband that lights up, and gold body glitter.
So the sun and the moon. They came up with it on their own. Where did you get the inspiration?
Pinterest, I think. We
Yeah.
started looking in like August.
Which, listeners, let me tell you, is a miracle in itself. I can't tell you how many years in a row I'm dragging Lily. I'm in a sheer panic. She's completely shut down. I'm angry and irritated because we've waited until the day before Halloween to decide what she wants to be. All the good costumes are gone. I know I'm going to spend a fortune on something that she doesn't even like all that much because it's all that was left in the store. That was our experience for a few years in elementary school. But this year, she was proactive and they started researching costumes in August. So then we had everything well in advance. They could try it on, make sure it fit. I am curious though, because I found for me sometimes when I do creative things too early, by the time it's time for the event, I'm bored with it and I'm wishing that I had done something else. Did you feel that way about this costume or did you just stay happy with it?
I stayed happy with it.
Cool. I not only love to put on costumes, but I loved dressing Lily up in themed costumes when she was a kid. And my absolute favorites were when we would dress in theme together. Let's see if we can remember all of our themed costumes.
I remember cheerleader and football player.
I was the football player.
I remember when our whole family did Frozen.
Oh, that was so good. I forgot about that one. So her sister's dressed up with her. Her middle sister, Alexis, went as Olaf. And she was in high school at the time and like wore this Olaf outfit to school. Her oldest sister, Brianna, who we talked about in episode 0, went as Anna. Yeah. And then Lily was Elsa.
You were Sven, I thought.
And I was Sven. You're so right. I was. I Pinterested up some homemade antlers and wore this like furry fuzzy scarf that totally like made me look like a reindeer. Oh my gosh. That was so fun. And back then I was still working in the office full time. And I work for a fairly large company. We've got about 1,500 employees, and the majority of them were housed, or yeah, like home base for them was this office building that I worked in. And so employees would dress up in costumes and decorate their cubicles. And then employees with kids or grandkids could bring them in, and the kids would go trick or treating from cubicle to cubicle. What did you think of that? Did you enjoy that?
I thought it was really fun. Everybody had good candy.
Her dad and I both work at the same place and we're pretty well known. So that was fun too because people were excited to see our daughter and what she was dressing up as that year. And I haven't shared this with Lily yet, but I ran into one of my old bosses who's since retired. I was just kind of filling her in on our life, and she mentioned that she saw a picture of you on social, and she could not believe how old you are now. You would have been 6 or 7 when I was working with her, still wearing costumes like Elsa. And now all of a sudden, what's happening on Saturday, Lily?
I'm driving.
She has her first real life driving lesson. Hopefully, not her last. How do you think it's gonna go?
Not good.
Yeah,
I've never driven before.
like, I mean,
N-
she's done like bumper cars,
I've never driven a car before.
like a real car. Yeah, she's pretty nervous. She's thoroughly convinced that she's gonna take our mailbox out. So I feel like if she can even get out of the driveway, that session's gonna be a success. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to finding out how that goes. I think she's gonna do fine.
I can't even drive the cars at Worlds of Fun.
Yeah, so there's an amusement park that is fairly close by. It's about an hour away, and they have these like old-timey cars that are on a track. So, I mean, really, when you move the steering wheel, it only goes 1 or 2 inches one way or the other. And when it's Lily's turn to drive, just like scrapes along the track the entire time because she cannot get the wheel straight. Okay, remind me the one time you've driven a golf cart.
It was like you and Dad were golfing.
Something happened though because you swore you'd never drive one again.
Oh, right, I almost like crashed it on like a turn.
I think she like got the yes, okay. She was going, she was trucking along, it was great. But because she'd never driven before, Lily didn't know that when you're getting ready to take a turn, you need to slow down a little bit. And so she took this turn at like full speed, and I swear we went up on 2 wheels for a hot second. And at that point, she's like, "Yeah, I'm done. Nope, never again." So we'll see how she does with a giant real life vehicle instead, an automobile. So this year's Halloween was really good. You had a pretty good time this year, right?
Yeah.
She had a nice big group of friends who went trick or treating, and even though they were freezing, she refused to put a coat on, which I can totally relate to. I was always the same way because I was so into my costume. I wanted people to see it. I didn't care if my lips and fingers were turning blue.
Well, everybody always told my friend and I that we looked like really good, but we must be freezing. So, worth it.
Yeah,
Plus, you
winning.
just stop feeling the cold after. I think I've become accustomed to the cold because now nothing below like 35 makes me feel
That's a little alarming, but also okay because that means I'm not going to be getting a call in the middle of the day. Can you bring me a coat?
well, why would I go outside anyways?
That's true. You know, I have like recess and stuff in middle school. Actually, come to think of it, I haven't gotten that call in a while. There's been an ongoing battle for like Lily's entire lifetime between her and her dad on how much clothing she needs to have on depending on what the weather's doing, especially when it's cold outside. Like he's been convinced since she was 4 that she was gonna like die from the flu if she didn't have stocking cap, gloves, scarf, coat, if it was less than 50 degrees outside. Does that sound about right?
Yes, I'm still wearing shorts.
Mm-hmm. And it's like averaging 40 or 50 degrees now. How many times would you say that your dad's actually won that battle in your lifetime?
One, maybe.
And that one time was probably when no, it was. Actually, I think it was just last week. She had already decided she was going to wear a coat that day. I don't know if he would call that a win still or not because it was her decision and not his.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. Well, we're coming up on the weekend. We've shared with you Lily's big news for this weekend, her driving lesson. So we'll have to give the listeners an update on how that went on our next episode. And I think we've decided which song we're going to be talking about next week. What do you think about Wish List?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. So we'll be breaking down Wish List, which is, I don't know what track it is on The Life of a Showgirl, but it's super fun. And she spelled it with dollar signs instead of S's. I really enjoy the song. It makes me smile. It's got a sweet little surprise turn in it that I was not expecting from Taylor, especially, but it's just wonderful. And I'm very much looking forward to talking about it with you. That's all for now for this week on 40 is the New Swifty, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Pray for our mailbox.